With the college and football seasons kicking off in recent weeks, I thought it might be helpful to kind of create a tutorial for people who are interested in sports betting but don't exactly understand some of the terms. So, I know that one people struggle with often is the spread. So, the spread is actually pretty simple once you understand it, but it might be a little complicated at first. So I think to understand the spread, the first thing I would point you to is actually the money line. The money line is probably the easiest of all of these for someone who's completely new to betting to understand. First of all, if it is a minus 210, if you have the minus and then the number, assuming they aren't both minus, in which case it's usually minus 110, minus 115, something like that, and that's often considered a pick 'em. In this situation, a team that's a minus 210, like the Chiefs versus the Chargers tomorrow night, the Lions minus 126 versus the Commanders on Sunday, this minus team is the favorite. And that's pretty consistent with the teams that are playing. The Browns, even with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, should handle the Jets easily, led by Joe Flacco, so they're a minus 250 favorite. The Buccaneers should beat the Saints. They're a minus 142 favorite. Now, this ranges. Obviously, you see games like the Giants are a minus 126 favorite over the Panthers at plus 108. And then you have games like the Rams and Falcons, where the Rams are a minus 590 favorite. Now, to dive into what these minus and positive numbers mean, these numbers dictate how much money you will have to bet to win a certain amount. So, for instance, let's take the Packers to beat the Bears at minus 460 money line. So, if you put $1 in, you will win 22 cents. $100 wins 21.74. $1,000 217.39. This is a lot easier to calculate in your head when you get games that have even numbers like minus 200, minus 300, but those aren't super common. So, now that we know the minus number is the favorite and the plus number is the underdog, then we can start matching that number to the spread and making it a little easier to understand. So, for instance, the minus 210 favorite Kansas City Chiefs have a spread to cover of minus 4.5. I believe that I've seen spread numbers that are even, but they will almost always be based around half points. Now, the reason for this is because in this situation with the Kansas City Chiefs, a minus 4.5 favorite, they are expected to win this game if you bet on them covering the spread at minus 4.5 at 5 points or more. You want it to come in above this number. Now look at the Chargers, who have a plus 4.5 spread. If you pick them, that means they have to lose the game by 4 points or fewer, or win the game outright, or tie in the event of that happening. So, if you think that the Chiefs are going to win this game and you think they're going to win big, they just decimated the Cardinals on opening Sunday. If you think they're going to take this game against a pretty good Chargers team, but if you have a suspicion that they're going to win this game by 2 touchdowns, you take them to cover the spread, because that means they'll be winning by 5 or more points. If you think they're going to win the game and you have a gut feeling, you're confident that they're only going to win that game by a last-second field goal, you want to take the Chargers plus 4.5, because the Chiefs did not win that game by 5 points. That spread would not cover. So, again, spread betting. The plus will be based on the underdog, and they get the benefit of simply not having to lose by more than the spread amount. The favorite, obviously being the betting favorite, has to win by more than the amount of points issued on the spread. Now, the last thing that you're probably familiar with, but I feel should be touched on just in case, the total points scored. If you hear someone say Bet the over. I bet the over. I bet the under. You should bet the under. Both defenses are really good. Bet the under. That simply just means the over or the under on total points. This is something that most people who have any experience gambling, betting on sporting events, probably already knows. But just as a refresher, these are the total points scored between the two teams. So the way I like to look at it is 54.5. So for the over to hit, that's 55 points. So you can't evenly half that at 28 apiece, but you could say 28 and 27 equals 55, right? So that would mean for this to cover, if the Chiefs scored 28 points and the Chargers scored 27 points, you would clear that over by 1 point. Now, obviously, it doesn't have to be that exact scenario. The Chiefs could theoretically score 55 points by themselves and cover the over in a blowout win. Generally doesn't happen that way, but that's all it would take. So if you think it's going to be Chiefs 21, Chargers 17, that's 38 points, you would want to bet the under. If you think it's going to be a shootout because they're two high-powered offenses, and you think the Chiefs are going to win 42-35, you're going to want to take the over because the total points scored will be over 54.5. As you can see here, if you have any inclination either way, you can chain these together to create a parlay. And if you see this video and you don't really understand parlays or same game parlays or anything to do with parlays or combined bets like that, just let me know. I would be happy to explain it to somebody who is perhaps new to betting. I've kind of been at it for a couple years. I'm pretty familiar with most things that you can bet on FanDuel, DraftKings, online sports books. So, yeah, if anybody were to see this video and you need any help with that, definitely just let me know. But I hope that this answers any questions that someone who stumbles across this video might have about the spread, the money line, or the total. Have a good day.